Hi everybody, welcome back to Mishler Math. This is slope part 2. So we're going to talk about what is slope and how do we make it work and all that stuff. And let's see, get everything working right here. This isn't as easy as it looks, I'll tell you that. Slope part 2. You can see we're using an actual coordinate plane here. We're going to make some points here, draw lines between them, and we're going to see what happens. Okay, so let's make 2 points here. A is -6 and 2. So 2, 4, -6 and +2. Put a point right there. Okay, that's -6, +2. Okay, and then we're going to have another point, 8 and 9. This is point A, and point B is 8 and 9. 2, 4, 6, 8. It's your x-coordinate, and 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 is your y-coordinate. So there's your point 8 and 9. Okay, and that is point B. I'm going to draw a nice neat line between these 2 points, and I've got a neat little button here I can push, and it'll create a nice neat straight line. Isn't that incredible? And so there's that, and there's that, and there's my line between those 2 points. I want to know what the slope of this line is, and so I'm going to say slope. Just a reminder, slope is equal to rise over run. Rise over run. What does that mean? That means we're going to take the delta y. Okay. Delta means change in. That's all it means. Delta y is change in y over delta x. And what does that mean? That means we're going to use the formula y2 minus y1. Put that over x2 minus x1. How do you find the change in y? You subtract one of the y's from the other y. Same thing with the change in x. Okay, and what does that equal? Well, let's figure out what's x1, what's x2, and what's y1 and y2. Now it's real tricky. You notice the x is first. Here you start at the top and your y is first. So that's the easiest thing to do, is get those 2 confused. That's what I used to do all the time when I first started learning about this. So let's see. Got x1, x2. Okay, we've got y1, kind of hard to see there, and this is y2. So y2, let's start with that, is 9. y1 is 2. x2 is 8. Subtract from that x1, which is -6. This is another one of those cases where things get real tricky in algebra because of these positive and negative integers that pop up all over the place. So 9 minus 2 is 7, and 8 minus a -6 is the same as 8 plus 6. That's 14. And what does that equal? That equals our slope, which is, what does that reduce to? Well, of course that reduced us to 1 over 2. And so your slope is 1/2. That means the ratio of your change in y to the change in x is 1 over 2. That means for every time you go up 1 unit, you're going to go to the right 2 units. So let's start with this point right here and see if that's true. Okay, here's a point here, point A. If I go up 1 unit and to the right 2 units here, I should have another point on the line, and sure enough, that's what's going on. Up 1, to the right 2. Another point on the line. Up 1, to the right 2. Up 1, to the right 2, etc. But remember, this is also equal to -1 over -2. So what does that all mean? That means if I start at this point right here, if I start at this point right, let's say right here, this point right here on the line, if I go down 1, that's -1, and to the left 2, that's -2, then sure enough, I'm at another point on my line. Down 1, to the left 2. Down 1, to the left 2. So you see, if I go down 1 and to the left 2, that's also my slope. So -1 over -2 is the same as 1 over 2. And so that's how that slope works. Well, let's try another one. And because the slope, lines don't always go uphill. In fact, the good thing to remember is when a line is going uphill like this, your slope is always going to be positive. Because you're going up, that's a positive, and to the right, that's a positive. So you go from here to here, you're going up and to the right. Or if you're going from here, start here and go backwards, you're going down and to the left, which is negative and negative, which still gives you a positive slope. So what happens, isn't there a case where you get a negative slope? And let's clear this and take a look and see what happens when we have a negative slope. Okay, so we're going to take -3 and 5. And so I got -3 and positive 5. And let's see, 1, 2, 3, 2, 4, 5. Here's point C, because we already used A and B. And that is -3 and positive 5. Okay? And then we're going to have D. Point D is 6 and -1. So 2, 4, 6, and -1 is right there. Okay? So that's point D, 6 and -1. Once again, I'm going to draw a nice neat line through those 2 points and see if I can get this right. No, not quite. Let me try this again. This might do the trick. There we go. I still don't like that line. I'm going to make this right. You just trust me. That's the way to do it. Okay, there's a line. There's a line. Okay, those arrows, by the way, mean, just like these arrows here, they mean that the graph goes infinitely far in all directions. All we're doing is looking at the part of the graph that's right around the 0, 0, or the origin. Okay, so there's your line. There's your 2 points that we're going to use to try to find the slope of that line. So let's see what we have. We have delta y over, use a little bit different color here, delta x. So what does that mean? Delta y is going to be y1 is here and y2 is here, and delta x, okay, x1 is here and x2 is here. So let's first take a look at y2 minus y1. y2 is -1 minus positive 5. So there's y2 minus y1. Okay, -1 is y2 minus 5 is y1, and x2 minus x1. x2 is 6 minus x1, which is -3. Look at all those negative signs. You know, if we don't pay attention, we can easily get confused with all this stuff. So we really have to pay attention here. So -1 minus 5 is -6. All right? And 6 minus a negative 3. Right here, 6 minus negative 3. That's a positive 9. Now you don't have a negative over a negative here. You don't have a positive over a positive. You got a negative over a positive, and that equals, we reduce that. That's a negative 2 over 3. Okay, because 3 goes into 6 2 times, 3 goes into 9 3 times. So you got a negative 2/3 for a slope. Okay, and again, we were talking about, if it's going this way, it's a positive slope. Well, anything that goes downhill from left to right is going to be a negative slope. Okay, because either you're going minus and plus, or you're going plus and minus. So either you're starting here and going here, or else you're starting here and going here. Either way, it's going to be negative over positive, or it's going to be a positive over negative. So either way, it's going to be overall it's going to be a negative slope. So let's take a look at what that means. That's the same as a negative 2 over positive 3, or 2 over negative 3. So either one of these would work. So let's start with negative 2 over 3. Start with a point on the line. Let's do this point right here. Okay. So if I go negative 2, that means I go down 2 like this. And positive 3 is to the right 3. And sure enough, down 2 and plus 3, and I get to another point on the line. Or we can look at this one, 2, negative 3. So positive 2 means I go up 2. Start with this point, I go up 2, plus 2, and I go to the left 3. Okay, minus 3, plus 2, minus 3. There's my other point. So that's slope. Okay, so anyway, thanks for listening, and we'll go on from here for the next video.